Happy New Year, everyone. I'm happy to see that you're still listening to the podcast. I hope you had a great holiday season. I hope that you had a lot of great time with your family and rest and sleep and all that good stuff. But now we are back to podcasting. As you can tell, I'm posting this a couple days later than usual. I did intend for this to be the last episode of 2024, but it turns out it'll be the first episode of 2025. I mean, both are basically the same thing. Doesn't really matter. Anyways, in this episode, I talked to my longtime friend, Andrew Rolls. He's been my writing partner since high school. That's whenever I met him. And so I'm very excited for him to mark off the beginning of a new year of this podcast. Because we're friends, this conversation isn't scripted at all. I didn't come in with any questions. It was basically just us talking like we always would. I do apologize in advance. There are a couple of technical issues with the audio, a bit of phasing and things like that, but it doesn't get too noticeable until about 3/4 of the way through the episode, so I wasn't too worried about that. Anyways, enjoy the episode.
We shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time. Through the unknown remembered gate, when the last of Earth left to discover...
Point is, so like, if you're paying attention to any of the interviews and the trailers, how it's like...
What are we talking about now?
The script I was telling you. I was trying to with
we
the
were talking about like
robots
interviews and trailers, so I wasn't sure what you were talking about.
for like Nosferatu.
Oh, okay.
How it's inspiring the one. They're talking about how like darkness is a big thing. Like not even like the physical manifestation of like the actual light, but then like the actual just like the feeling. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, girl, I've had this type of story on hand forever, and I still have that character. It's a character that I always try and use in every one I do. Mm-hmm. And I think I figured it out. Mm-hmm. I think I did. So, the general story as of now. So, the ending is somewhere... when you read it, that's the ending. Mm-hmm. That's literally where it's going to end. And, like, where... like, so, the beginning is a husband and wife, okay. They're together, whatever. They have a couple friends. It's kind of like a small little community. And the husband and the best friend, they're kind of like, the one's more of like an explorer type deal, mm-hmm. So kind of like the trail story, mm-hmm. And then the husband, he's more of like a writer, mm-hmm. And he's going out to discover certain things and aspects, and he's looking for, it's either, I can't figure out if it's going to be something religious or if it's something dark. That he knows.
Could be religious and dark.
That he knows that he's going after, mm-hmm. And he knows that something
that'll happen. And this is the
happen.
explorer that's doing that?
This is the explorer and the husband.
Okay,
the explorer is taking him. And
I see, alright.
And what we figure out is the husband never returns. Oh. So, I'm stuck on that part because the explorer comes back, which is his best friend. Mm-hmm. And the wife figures out, and her wife, and they're all like, and the wife, this is like where it's at. It's like the end, but it's not quite the end yet. Mm-hmm. So she starts seeing what he saw. It's kind of like this figure, and it starts
what the explorer saw, or what the husband saw.
The husband, because the explorer wouldn't quite exactly see it, because the husband, he's a little bit more antsy about seeing whatever they're seeing, mm-hmm. Because he's going to document. Okay. The explorer's more about like just getting him there.
I see.
He thinks it's interesting. He thinks it's cool, but he doesn't quite understand it.
Mm-hmm.
So she starts to see the figure that he saw, and it's kind of like starting to mess with her, mm-hmm. Like on a physical and mental level. So and one of the big ways is like she'll start to hear his voice. Her husband.
Okay.
And this is part of the scene that I wrote. It's literally, she gets this letter, because he writes it, and he knows if something bad will happen, it's on the table. And if she knows that, like, if he doesn't come back, she has to read it. He told her this, they know this, he leaves it there. He's like, this is everything to take care of you, everything that you need to know, why I'm doing this, that, whatever. And so she reads that, she, like, breaks down, because it's like, I have to do this, you know, there's this thing out there, it's like this calling, and this is something I've seen and heard throughout my life. So it's like, what do you mean throughout your life?
Yeah, I mean, I see, like, metaphorically, it's, you know, the creative drive that, you know, rips. I'm assuming that's probably what you're going for.
Mm-hmm. And
oh yeah, you guessed
it. It's pretty good. And so she kind of like, she's like, no, there's no way he's dead. So she does the stereotypical, I'll run outside, like, I'm pissed off. She's like, I'm gonna go after him. No, you're not. Just because she starts to hear his voice from outside. Runs outside. Where you at? Then she looks around. He's not. And I love the type of angle where the characters are here and you can tell that they're spinning, but the camera's spinning with them, like the chaos of that. Mm-hmm. Stop. Like, you'll go, and then you'll stop right on her, and it's just like pure fear. You have no idea what's going on, and then you start to hear this big, looming voice behind her, and it's dead quiet. It's scary, and the figure starts to walk up. We don't see it. Throughout the whole thing, because we'll know what happens with the husband and the traveler, but we won't really see it. He's not quite like a vampire either, so he's not gonna like.
Well, see, I actually like that as because
a vampire story.
Yeah, because I've also been thinking about. I haven't started writing one.
Okay, so
yeah, I've been wanting to do either like a vampire or like a werewolf story, but like in a different way than what it's normally been done. Like I don't just want to do like a Nosferatu or like a Twilight or something like that. Like
I don't want to do Twilight.
No, I mean obviously not Twilight. I'm just using that because it's like a common vampire thing. Well, my point is like the whole idea of a vampire is, you know, it's this kind of like undesirable Freudian shadow part of our psyche that comes, and I mean, because a vampire's whole shtick is you have to like invite it in, you know, for it to actually be able to do anything. If you don't invite it in, it can't come into your house. And I think that's where like
this kind of makes sense.
It is a vampire story, but it's like not actually a vampire.
That's what I'm saying.
Because it's like it's a vampire in that like if you are kind of looking at it from the lens of it being like a creative energy, then it's like this is something that you needed to welcome in, and because the husband welcomed it in, it's devouring the rest of his family because, you know, these actions have consequences. Because like, what if you made the voice of it rather than like a what if you made it like gosh, I know you haven't heard of. Have you heard of the theater show Hades Down?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so in that show, Hades' character is voiced originally by this like I don't know his name, but it's like this like really low voiced black guy, and so like it's like it reverberates, and like he's singing too. It wouldn't be singing in this, but like it's like this reverberant. Like, what if you made it like kind of like a mix of like a low reverberant?
I was thinking, because I sort of had the voice in my head. It's a little lower, almost kind of. This is the funniest way to explain it. Almost kind of sounds like a smoker. And it's just kind of, maybe it's like an old English accent.
You know, like what if it's like what I mean by that is like what if it's like it's a powerful.
But it's powerful.
Yeah, like it's a powerful whisper though. Like what if it's like he's not whispering, but it's like it's because it's a smoker. It's like the voice is coming out, but there's so much power into it. Because I think that's more scary in a way. Like whenever you hear like. Because if you just hear it, like if you're sleeping at night and you hear this like scream, you're gonna freak out because you're like, oh my god,
scream, but
someone
if you hear
kill.
like,
but like
you're like,
especially if it's like slow and drawn out, you're like, whoa, especially like what is going on? Because then it also fits more into like the whole it's of the mind.
I like the broken aspect. So when you hear it, it's like fear, and it like kind of like breaks and it like falls apart.
Yeah. And we can even do like effects with it with like the reverb.
Which I'm probably gonna do the voice for it because I know what it is.
Yeah, and you can like do the echo like that swells in and out, or the reverb that swells in and out. That kind of.
Your husband's dead. But like you get what I'm saying, and
it takes a whole new shift on that part.
So you've seen that painting I have of that guy That's
I think so, yeah.
hands out behind the buildings that are burning.
I think, yeah. I mean, I've seen it. I'm trying to, like, I don't think
Long
I
hair,
remember.
white beady
Yeah.
eyes, bloody smile, just blood on him, shirtless, kind of has, like, almost like a cape. This predates Nosferatu, too.
No, it
The
doesn't.
furry... Yes, it does. The furry...
Oh, you mean
the new one.
Okay. I
The
was like,
furry
the original
cape?
one came out in the 20s.
The furry cape, I had that before he did.
Okay, well, that's fair. Yeah,
I have
Robert
it marked
Eggers
and
obviously
dated.
stole it from you. I mean...
No, he didn't steal it from me, but I have it predated.
Yeah, I thought you meant the original Nosferatu, and I was like, I'm not going to sit here and let you say that you...
I'm not going to give my guy
someone
big
from
shoulder
the
pads.
1920s.
I don't know what it is, but, like, I've always found...
Well, see, Robert Eggers wouldn't have been able to do the original Nosferatu anyways, because now everyone who watches it now would think SpongeBob. Because Nosferatu is in SpongeBob. Nosferatu! And he's like you couldn't do that anymore.
That and then We Live in the Shadows, it's not Nosferatu.
What is that? Is that a show?
It's a show.
Oh, okay.
It's a vampire show, and they have the one dude that looks like Nosferatu, but it's
okay.
not. But,
Yeah, it's been so long that you wouldn't be able to do an exact replica of it.
I find it very fascinating that, because sometimes when you see vampires, they're like these gorgeous things.
Yeah.
Or they're these, like, really demented looking, like, kind of, like, not super big, but, like, bigger built, you know what I'm saying? I want to kind of do a delicate, thin frame, like Marilyn Manson.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what I was saying with, like, the whole vampires being a
But not
projection.
goth looking.
Yeah, no. I mean, like, but, like, the whole thing with vampires being a projection of your darkness, it's like, you know, it depends on what sort of darkness you're trying to project. I mean, you know, there's people whose dark, you know, because vampire is a dark desire.
The character is literally the
so it's like if your
darkness.
dark desire is like, you know, Robert Pattinson in Twilight, you know, whatever, that's your dark desire. Was he a vampire in Twilight or was he a werewolf?
He was twinkly. He was a vampire.
Oh, okay. I've never watched Twilight.
I've never either. I just know that people complain that he sparkles.
Oh. It's so funny, like, that people, like, it's so sad, actually, like, with Patterson, that people still associate him as his vampire character. Because, like, he is such a good actor.
No, I just saw this thing on Instagram. He got pulled over because he was on vacation. He was driving through this border spot. And, you know, he's supposed to give over this, that, or whatever. He goes, "Hi, aren't you that guy that played that dude from Twilight?" He goes, "No, I'm Batman." Is this recording?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I've been recording just in case.
Thank god. We do have good sections.
Yeah, I mean, because if I don't put it in the podcast, we'll just have it.
But, so, like, the epitome of my darkness is that character, and that's Astaroth, which is deprived of demonic names and stuff like that, which I found. I don't like going and diving into that stuff.
Yeah, it's, you know,
I really don't want to.
that's the thing, yeah. It's like...
But it's like when you do...
It's like, do I dive into it for research?
Only the names.
Yeah.
And
no, that's fair.
I changed the name enough. Well, I think it's
Yeah,
still
you don't want to
the
say
same.
it enough on set where it's like you actually end up having a... Yeah, no, that's something I think about too whenever I want to do darker films, and that's why I typically, like, will kind of stray away from a darker film, because it's like I don't actually want to, you know, get into that sort of thing, because it is a real thing, you know?
I know, but, like, the history is so interesting.
And that's why it's like I've talked a lot about wanting to do something kind of more like Norse, Scandinavian, pagan sort of thing. I mean, because it's like Wicker Man, like German, you know, old German.
Kind of like German expression, which
because it's like that. It's like in the same sphere where it's like that same dark, interesting sphere, but it's
that's where a lot of my stuff is. If you've ever noticed that, like, I don't do it on purpose. It's just it's kind of there, and I just don't know how to navigate it.
I mean, talking sadly, R.I.P. about Beowulf. Now that they're doing it, that was kind of always what I wanted to do.
Jim Henson's.
I'm excited.
Okay.
Like,
I'm not
gonna sit over here and say I'm not excited. I am excited. I'm just sad that they did it before I did.
They have Jeff Bridges, and it's a puppet thing, and
isn't
it's Jim Henson's.
Isn't Bryan Cranston in it too?
I think he is.
Like, I'm excited.
If he plays Beowulf,
Beowulf is I forget. They got like some big guy to beat Beowulf. I think they got. Oh man, it was some like big guy. I don't remember who it was. Like some. I feel like I remember reading it like Dave Bautista or something.
Maybe.
Like, I hope
he's been doing a lot. Well,
he also lost a lot of weight though, so I don't know if he'd be able to do it.
I kind of.
Did you see those pictures of him like losing weight?
He looks decent.
Yeah, I mean he does. It's just kind of weird. Like,
but you know why he's doing it.
No, I know why he's doing it.
He wants the roles. He doesn't want to be
Yeah, no, he doesn't want to be big, bulky like Dave. He wants to be like Dave Bautista, like who's still big enough, but like that isn't like getting cast as all the body. Like he wants
He wants the intellectual roles.
Yeah, and it's like I mean.
He does have the acting chops.
No, I know, but it's like I feel like that's something where at like his level, my eyes are really itchy, but like at his level, like he could get roles. I mean, like I feel like he shouldn't like that he wouldn't be typecast if he didn't want to be typecast.
If you watched him in Blade Runner, that's a short period. It's
that's right. He was in Blade Runner.
He was the opening, isn't it? The opening.
Yeah,
it's the opening scene. He's in there for a short period of time,
and he does what he needs to do.
Very effective.
I mean, even in...
That was his first big role.
Even in Dune, like, he wasn't... He was, like, the big kind of, like...
Scream, yell.
Yeah. But, like, even that, like, I don't know. Like, it's something.
It was still... I'm sorry, but part 2, when he's like, get him! And he grabs the dude's head and slams it on the thing.
His character in part 2 was one of the reasons why the first time I watched part 2, I was like, do I really like this? Or, Because he just kind of seemed a little too comical in part 2. You know what I mean? Like, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, he felt,
because it felt like...
it felt like a typical Bautista.
Yeah, because, like, in part 1... He was in part 1, right?
Yeah, he was in part 1.
Yeah, part 1.
Part 1, he was a little bit more...
Yeah, like, he's actually, like...
laid back.
Yeah, but you also, like, feel, like, You feel the tension whenever you're around him. Like, in this one, it just felt like after...
Because this is... no! Denny's a genius.
After Austin Butler came in, he just gets stepped on, and it's like, I understand that that's the point.
No, it's even before that. It's his... So, Denny is a... Damn you, Denny. Denny's a genius. So, showing him, like, screaming and yelling, like, almost like an infant, shows the weakness, the loss of power, because all he can do now is yell and try and... Look at me. But it's not working.
Yeah.
So, he has to look big and imposing to all his men. He has to. So when he slams that dude's head in the thing, when he kills random guys like that, it's him trying to keep his dominance. It's him. It's a battle for his manhood.
Yeah, I mean, it's how a tyrant keeps their power.
And then Austin Butler comes in, and he's like, "Beast,
my darlings." Yeah, his character, man.
Fab was great.
No, he was.
Like...
Yeah, Dune Part 2.
Sting was still good.
I still prefer the original Denis Villeneuve Dune from 21 or whenever it was.
Part 1.
Because I think cinematically that one was a lot better.
There's some aspects I agree and I disagree. In the second one, Timmy gives a better performance. The first one he was stale as shit.
I do agree with that, but I think also, because I've heard that complaint a lot, I think also that is how he is in the book, where it's like...
It is.
He is supposed to...
Very stoic.
He's supposed to be very dry and stoic from Arrakis coming on to... Because it's kind of like... It's this weird sort of, like, juxtaposition, because you would expect someone coming from a water world into, like, a desert world would, like, dry out, character-wise and everything. But he goes...
Frank Herbert!
But he goes from this place of, like, wealth and everything he needs to this place of depravity, and it's like he wakes up there. Like, that's where that's like his playing ground of, like, that's where he was meant to be, and that's why his dreams are leading him there. And so I never had a problem. I actually really like his...
So it's like...
But that's why I really like his performance in the original one, because of that.
How do I put it that sounds unique? So he's like the sleeper. He's sleeping.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's fully awoken when he's on that plane.
And that's the dreams. Like, he's having dreams of this place.
That's a good title, The Sleeper.
The Sleeper. It's like some... And that sounds like a Lovecraftian thing.
I could do that with, like, the drift stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, that, pretty much.
Yeah, Lovecraft is one of those that I wish could actually be adapted to film, but there's no way that it could. It's just too... It's too big.
It's too big, and it's not as visual as you think it is.
No, it isn't at all. Cosmic horror only works on the page because cosmic horror, the whole genre of cosmic horror, is meant to be like, it's things that can't be explained. Like, it's literally things that can't be seen.
So the entire film would be reactions.
Exactly, because it's like, that would be like a film of, like, trying...
But it still could work. It's almost like Jaws.
I don't think it could, though, because, like, see, Jaws is something different, because, like, a shark is a shark. Like, the fear of the shark is that you still see its fin coming towards you. The fear of cosmic horror is that it's something that just exists.
Because there is some things that are manifestations. Manifestations. of the human
The
mind.
inner machinations of my mind.
The inner machinations of my mind are enigma. Patrick, we hate you.
Patrick.
But like it depends on what you do with that, because you could show a little bit of the monster, but you can't show too much.
No, you can't show it.
It has to be less than Jaws.
That's the thing with Lovecraft. That's why actually a good example is talking
Lovecraft's psychological horror.
No, but he's cosmic. There's a difference between
No.
psychological and cosmic.
That's how you can do it on film.
Yeah,
it has to be a psychological
thing. Difference.
Yes, but like the only way to translate it is, yes, it's cosmic horror, but the only way to translate it is to approach it like it's a psychological horror.
I feel like that's why I heard a lot of people talking about The Lighthouse, that it was a cosmic horror. And I think that I see that. Like, that's how you do a cosmic horror.
Yeah, because there's a lot of the unexplained.
Yeah,
like,
and at the most, like, boring explanation possible.
Is there semen, or is it just, like, mermaid stuff on William Dafoe? You remember that part?
It's dripping down from the ceiling.
I don't know what the hell that was.
I think it was supposed to be octopus
slime.
Yeah. But it was kind of one of those things where it's like, you saw the octopus up there, but at the same time, like, was that really what it was? Because, like...
Yeah.
But the whole thing with the light, like, the light in that that's not psychological, it's cosmic. Because it's... I mean, and that's how Eggers talks about it in his interviews. Like, when people ask him... It's like when people ask Jimmy Page to describe Stairway to Heaven's meaning, and he's like, no. Like, I can't tell you that. Like, that's kind of how Robert Eggers is with the light. He's like, well, it doesn't have an explanation. Like, the explanation is that it's a light that draws people to it. And it's like, that's kind of what you get.
You guys are all moths.
I mean, really, that is what it is. It's metaphorical. Like, there's metaphoric importance to it being a light.
It's probably like a sex thing. Yeah, funny. Robert Eggers, what does that mean? Finally reveals it when he's 80. Well, that was about the one time I got pegged.
Yeah, he does say that. I mean, because, like, the whole point of the lighthouse is it's supposed to look like a, big penis. So. That was actually purposeful. Like, he talks about that, too. He's like, yeah, it's phallic. Like, it's meant to be a phallic lighthouse. No, seriously, look up interviews. Like, he says it himself.
You know he's joking.
No, he's not joking. Like, that's what that's the whole subtext of that. Because, I mean, the Earth, the on Earth explanation or
it's erect
interpretation of the lighthouse is that it's a story about masculinity and, like, what happens whenever you. That's why they're both named the same thing. Both of their stories are kind of vague because you're kind of supposed to look at it as like they're the same person at two different points in their life. And so it's like, what happens whenever you deprive like a man of any purpose in his life and you give him random things to do all day and, he never escapes.
Random tasks. But then what happens when you're the old man depraving the other man?
Yeah, it turns into this weird, like, and that's why they, like, do the dances and, like, they dance together and they're, like, making out and whatever they do in that.
Do they?
No, they didn't make out.
I was like...
They had, like, that really weird hug where they were, like, swaying back and forth, I think. If I remember right.
William Dafoe.
But if you... In the script...
He probably kissed him on set. No, we can't do that. And then Robert's like, oh!
In the script of The Lighthouse, whenever Patterson finds that little mermaid thing inside the bed, that, like, little wooden mermaid... the script actually clearly says it's like, this was used for something in the past, and it's like, it's basically like a, it's like a Playboy magazine for this guy, because it has, like, it points out, like, the curves of the mermaid and everything, and then that's the whole masculine thing where it's like, he gets this totem, this totem that he finds, and then the mermaid just actually shows up in real life.
It's manifestation.
Yeah, so it's all manifestation. The whole thing is manifestation. Yeah. So
it's about insanity. So it's about masculinity.
So that's how you do cosmic horror.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you look at a lot of the stuff I did, there's a lot of cosmic horror stuff. The Drift is literally all cosmic horror. No, it's not. It is, but it isn't.
It's more psychological.
It has its aspects, but, like, there are some stuff that is like, the hell? The Drift itself is more cosmic.
Well, because if you think about it, okay, so, like, the difference, because a lot of people, like, I've even done this, people compare The Lighthouse to The Shining, but the difference is The Shining is psychological, and The Lighthouse is cosmic. and it's weird. I don't know how to explain the difference.
I wouldn't
there.
complain though. Compare.
Compare.
I wouldn't complain.
I think the reason people compare it is just because it's like the slow, like you're isolated and it's the slow.
It's because the isolation and the insanity.
Yeah, that's
part.
really.
But
like
you can't really.
That's the comparison they make.
They're two different movies.
Yeah,
though.
exactly. But I mean, like the Overlook in The Shining is like the mind. Like you're stuck in the mind. The island in the Lighthouse isn't the mind. It's the universe. You know, like you're You're completely isolated. There's nothing
floating
else.
in the darkness.
Yeah, like these boats come and go, and like sometimes can come and pick you up, but yeah. So I think that's the difference there.
Yeah. But yeah. So that's what I kind of.
That's
like,
what's going on in your life right now.
With that one, and then got a little inspiration from 28 Years Later.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that movie.
It's not Cillian Murphy. I'm so happy about that. He's not the zombie.
Was he in the original?
The first one.
Really? Was he the guy?
Yeah. That's Jim, the guy who wakes up half head shaved.
I completely forgot that was Cillian Murphy.
Killian,
whatever.
It's not Cillian. He's not Sicilian.
Sicilian Murphy. I don't know. I can call what I want.
But he is coming back, and I think if you look at the trailers and everything, there's a whole rage cult. With the rage, a rage cult.
Oh, rage cult. Okay.
Like
they said rage cult.
Because if you look at a lot of the imagery, there's like a lot of things.
So did it not
the
come
dead
out yet?
people, the trailer.
Yeah.
Oh,
I thought you
came
meant
out.
the movie itself came out.
The movie hasn't came out yet. It's going to be a new trilogy. So they shut this one and then
28 years later, 28 centuries later, 28 millennia later.
No. So it's 28 years later, and then 28 years later, part 2, the Bone Temple.
The Bone Temple.
What the? I know.
That's a crazy name, the Bone Temple.
No, because at the end of the trailer, how they're
I didn't watch the trailer.
Oh, you'll see it. It's like at the end of the trailer, and you can clearly see the bones and shit.
Jamie, pull up the trailer.
Jeremy, spin that shit. But
if only I had Jamie here.
A lot of the imagery is pointing, like, it has, like, Jim, Cillian Murphy's name, like, his character's name, written throughout on dead corpses, on a famous quote, a Bible quote, I can't remember what it is, something about the clouds.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And it's like,
at least I think I do.
Is he a like? It's making me question: is he a messiah?
It's probably what they're going to try to do, some sort of like Mad Max thing.
Is he?
Or no, not Mad Max.
Is he going to do?
I Am Legend, where it's like he's the guy.
Is he? Is it like 28 weeks later? Is he immune?
Well, wasn't that the point of 28 days later?
They never said he was.
Oh, I kind of just assumed he was. I never watched 28 days later.
You didn't ever watch 28 Days Later? I have the DVD if you want to watch it.
Oh, okay.
I literally ordered it.
So wait, is there 28 days later and then 28 weeks later?
Yes, they were gonna do months, but the story just kind of we're pushing it, so they waited years.
So they did days, weeks, or years. Weeks, years.
Months would have been just kind of stupid because it's like
it's like okay, so it's like 4 years later, like or whatever that would be.
Something
not
weird.
4, sorry, 2, like 2.5 years later.
Yeah, I mean, it would still be interesting. I think they could have did it just for the whole...
I think they should do it 28 centuries later.
It just becomes Dune.
Yeah, it's actually just aliens at that point.
No, but like the point is, so I got inspired by that, and it's kind of ironic because the fact I've had this story idea in my head for a long time, and it's more than one, and then the more that I accumulate and put everything together, it became something different. So, they have the whole Bone Temple cult. Maybe
Bone Temple.
I'm not sure yet, but I wanted to do end of the world type of thing, and I always wanted to do one. And it's not going to be like a zombie movie. It's not going to be like a traditional end of the world. Like, oh, you could do this. It'll start off like it is, because it'll be a family. And they're out in the wilderness, and it'll seem happy, like it'll be very, very, very happy.
So kind of like The Village.
Sort of like The Village.
Okay.
But they're by themselves. They move around a lot. They and we might have a home base structured by a lake or something. Something that looks makeshift.
So they're kind of like just nomads.
Kind of like nomads, yeah.
All right.
So they travel around, but they do have a home base.
Okay.
And so it's like it's his family, and then they're taking care of each other. The father does
What
everything.
kind of apocalypse is it?
I'm not going to tell you.
Oh, okay.
You went, oh shit. I don't know yet, and I don't want to know. Because I think it would be more interesting for you to figure that out yourself.
That's what I was kind of asking about. Like, was it something that is left up to your
imagination? I'm not doing the work. I'm lazy.
No, I mean, I think that creates a lot of good stuff,
Every variation of this, it was like, okay, it was zombie apocalypse. Okay,
Yeah,
it was war. It was war. It was famine. It's this. Yeah. I want other people to figure it out.
Well, and that's more interesting, I mean, thematically, because when you look at it, it's like, zombie apocalypse, there's hundreds of movies. War apocalypse, nuclear apocalypse, hundreds of movies, Any kind of apocalypse, there's been a movie about it. There was literally that weird, dumb movie, The Fifth Wave one, where it was like...
It had an interesting concept.
It was interesting.
But
it's just like, holding up. It
execution.
Yeah, exactly. But
War
it's
of
like...
the Worlds, though.
Yeah, actually, I have the book right there.
So do I. I do like the art on that.
It's because it's a Barnes & Noble classic version. They do nice covers.
I really did like reading War of the Worlds, but I really do love
the reason that
Spielberg did with Tom Cruise.
The reason that's so good is because it's like one of the first ones. So it's like, to do it correctly, you either have to look for inspiration from the first ones, or you have to just do something vague, and I think the vague ones are the best. That was what I liked about It Comes at Night. Did I tell you about that?
I think you did.
It's the one with...
sounds familiar.
What's the guy's name? He's the guy from... He was in The Great Gatsby. He was his cousin. He has, like, the small eyes.
Oh, my God.
Do you know who I'm talking about?
Oh, Joel Edgerton?
Yeah.
Is he the brother-in-law?
Yeah, I think
Is he, like, the football player that's, like, rough and tough?
Yeah, he's, like, the guy...
He likes the blonde girl or
he's,
something?
like, alcoholic and, like, beats her up or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Joel Edgerton. He always. I love him as an actor.
See, I didn't like him in Great Gatsby, but that wasn't his fault. I just hated that movie.
He played it well.
I think
I've read the book, right?
Yeah, from how I remember, he played it well. I just didn't like the movie.
He played it perfectly.
Yeah, but
I hated the movie's score.
Well, yeah, it's because it was like the 1920s and they were doing like a hip hop score. Like it just didn't matter.
That was
like,
Baz Luhrmann. Baz Luhrmann did the same.
Yeah, he did good with Elvis.
No, he still didn't do good with Elvis.
No, well,
he did
true.
For the most part.
I do understand. Okay, so actually, I do agree with you.
He did the cultural shit.
Yeah, he didn't do good. I would say he didn't do good as a filmmaker with Elvis. He did good as a director of actors with Elvis because obviously he got Austin Butler.
There was too much.
Like he got his performance out of it.
It was too flashy.
Yeah, I think that's actually maybe what my problem with him is that he's a good He's a good finder of actors and like
he should do more of like the stage to film type thing because how flashy he is.
Yeah, but his style is too like commercially and like weird for
it's
the movies.
It's not really commercially.
But I think the reason it feels like that is because he does movies that are set in like times where it's like it clashes against like the story he's telling. Because Great Gatsby, I understand the point. It's like the 1920s and it's like everyone's partying, so we might as well do it like it's a party in the 2000s. But it just doesn't work because it's like that's not what Fitzgerald was going for with that book.
I will give him credit. He does try shit.
Yeah, but the actors did do good, so I'm not gonna. Anyways, what was I talking about? Joel Edgerton with It Comes at Night. So that whole story.
He's good in The Green Knight too.
I don't think I heard of that one, but in It Comes at Night, it's like you can tell it's an apocalypse. They live by themselves in the woods. I don't remember if they say or hint at what happened.
Is it where the wild things are?
But they meet this family because this like family is through like walking through the woods and they like help them. They bring them into their home. I think it's a sickness is what it was. But what happens is they start like slowly dying or something like that. And It Comes at Night part is like it's just this invisible like they'll just be sitting there and then the next day the person will be dead. And it's like they'll wake up and everyone like one person will be dead, and so they all start like freaking out and like killing each other because everyone's dying. That's what it was. It was like kind of like a pandemic apocalypse, but it wasn't like a classical pandemic apocalypse.
It was more fictional.
Yeah, because they were isolated in their house.
I will say, okay, so what I want to do with this is, honestly, I kind of got more inspired from Gladiator for one aspect. It's a very masculine movie.
Well, yeah, that was the point.
And I'm like, I've always kind of wanted to do masculine movie, even if it's not like bodybuilders or like this and that, you know what I'm saying, or wrestlers or anything that seems masculine. I wanted the trials and tribulations of masculinity. So I was talking about the cult group that could be in 20 years later, and I was like, okay, if I'm going to do that, I think I have an interesting way I could do that. Mm-hmm. So it's like this cult group, speaking of vampires, you're going to be like, oh, wow, that's weird. They're this group. They believe in purity. Like, there's always that end of the world group that's like, okay, we're religious, but we do it this way. I'm like, okay, how are they going to do it? And how do I justify them for being evil? They kill the innocent and drink their blood to purify their own.
I see.
So it's not like they live off of that, mm-hmm. but if they feel like they've wronged,
if they sin, mm-hmm.
and
I like that. That is interesting.
It'll come into play with the main character because like they'll either capture his family and threaten to kill them, so he has to do all this shit to stop them, and he has to learn their ways, do this and that, almost become one of them to get their freedom out. So, like I said, not traditional. Mm-hmm. Or, in my head, pull a Northman, wait till the nighttime and just murk everybody.
I like that. Like that would be interesting.
Because like,
and that feels like very like I like that too because I think what I like about apocalypse movies, is that it brings it back to old and like that's very like Old Testament, you know, like.
I was thinking maybe keep it primitive like that, and when he's
because I mean when society collapses, there's still humanity there, and it's actually truer humanity than what we have in society because this is like we're living in like a distilled down. You know,
that's why I'm like I don't know when I want to set this or I don't know.
Just don't like. If I feel like it's one of those things where it's like don't set it in any like don't worry about when you set it. I mean, people will understand that it's an apocalypse.
That one in the Nosferatu inspired one. That one I really don't know where to set it.
I feel like anything
1800s.
Anything with vampires, man. If you ever set a vampire movie in the 2000s, like I think I'm gonna.
It's not really a vampire.
Burn your script. Like it's like that's just not how you do a vampire.
It's not really a vampire. Though.
Yeah, like vampires.
Because I know the character.
No, but you know what I mean when I say a vampire story.
I know what you're saying.
Those kind of stories need to be in like times that we don't live in anymore. Like if you do it in modern times, it's gonna be weird. Like people pulling out phones and like I don't know. Driving cars around. Cars shouldn't exist with vampires.
But the biggest thing is the leader. I have in my head like so. I told you I kind of wanted a different voice. I might change the voice for Ashtaroth because I sort of want. It's like maybe he has like a throat wound. Mm-hmm. The leader, and it's kind of like broken, and it's like. It's not always there. Mm-hmm. It sounds sentimental, but it's not. It kind of like sounds like he's super thirsty all the time. So I kind of wanted like to portray that even when he's good, he can almost sound sympathetic in that tone, but also he can get very dark. He can come down here. And it sounds difficult, and I want to show the survival aspect, what he had to go through, what he forced, because we're never going to know why he's the way he is, because he's the leader. He started everything. Mm-hmm. Everybody's lost what they've lost. So, big aspect is when we're at that point where everything's thinning out and we don't know where to go, he'll be with the group and he'll be learning everybody's story but the leaders. And when it comes down to it and it's just him and the leader left, he's not gonna fight him. The leader's just gonna be like, "Oh,
yeah." I mean, because
we're no different.
Yeah, because their whole like MO is we're just looking for purity, and I mean they're doing it in the wrong sort of way. But I mean, to them it's justified, and therefore they don't feel like they need to fight people for it.
He's like, you just killed all these men for what? The survival of others. The only the only people that matter in this life is yourself. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. If you're gonna survive, it's only you. You don't need things holding you down. I really want to play this character. I know I often say that, but like this one I think could be interesting. Mm-hmm. And
well, here in more podcasty terms, I can like throw a question towards you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Why do you feel like you always need to play your characters? curious.
I don't always feel like...
No, why is it like a general thing? Like,
well, I've always had a fascination with acting. You know I have.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, even art, short films and stuff. Yeah, I got mad and people didn't want to do our stuff with us, but, like, I still have a fascination because I have this general idea of how they move, how they look, how they feel, and these subtle nuances that I can portray that aren't that I know are in my head, but I never write them down because they're my director's notes, or they're my actor's notes. So it's and especially with like a character like that, I still don't know his name yet, but like. I like to play the bad guy.
yeah.
Because you know me. I mean, I've been an asshole. I've been this. I've been a lot of things. But primarily, like at the end of the day, I have a huge heart, and like kind of challenging that would be interesting. And so, also letting go sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, because it's like it's kind of like why people like doing sports like boxing, where it's like you know you're not actually trying to kill the person.
They're the nicest people.
Exactly, because it's like you get all your anger out on somebody who also is.
Except for Conor McGregor.
Well, yeah, he just seems like
he's just a monster.
He seems like a jerk.
No, the original, one of the most, I can't remember the dude's name. One of the most deadly UFC fighters from the original UFC when it first came out, where it was dangerous.
Yeah.
There's this dude. He was like a professional boxer. He kind of like talked like this, but he looked like a man. He looked like Tom Selleck. Seriously. Something Fry. I don't remember his name.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I don't remember his name.
His last name's Fry.
Yeah,
I know that.
I have heard about him before.
Deadly in the ring. But then after the interview, he's like, "Oh yeah, no, I'm gonna go grab some beers. Do you guys wanna come? You know? Hey man, yeah, I didn't mean to kick you in the face like that, but you gave me a good challenge. Yeah, but like they have 25-cent hot dogs. We can eat as many as possible."
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, it is, but yeah.
It's the respect.
Yeah.
That's what I enjoy.
And it's like that with really with any kind of thing that someone could be a master at or even just have an interest in. I mean, where it's like it's kind of like this same idea of why people play games, like whatever kind of game it is, whether it's like because when you think about it, when people say things like life is a game or like, you know, everything in life is a game in some way, they're not saying that life is a joke. They're just saying that like what a game is
there's something competitive.
Yeah, it's something that you're like. I think I forget the definition. I have it in a book somewhere over there. But like the definition of a game that people have agreed on is it's something where you're setting up unnecessary obstacles for, you know, imaginary roles basically. And it's like, so with that, like with acting, it's kind of the same way where it's like you can be someone completely different and then, you know, come out of it and be like, hey, you want to go get some hot dogs, guys? Like,
there's another reason. So I was thinking about it, and when we were doing the short films, I realized that, yeah, we didn't really it was a little stressful because I couldn't do a process or learn or figure out how to do it.
Yeah, and we just didn't have the crew and cast behind us.
The first time I really got to act is when we were doing Yours. Yeah, I didn't know my lines, but I had to... I tried so hard for that. I'm not theater trained like you guys, so trying to remember lines like that was...
No, it wasn't.
difficult.
That wasn't your fault. That was...
Yours for expectations?
I would say it was kind of maybe all three of us because like it was...
I'm telling you, I read for 3 days straight.
No, I don't mean that you did any. I just mean like where it's like kind of like everyone, like there was nothing that like one of us could have done to fix that situation kind of thing.
I don't know. I don't want to sound like selfish, but like...
No,
we still had the footage. I rewatched it, and I'm like... I don't have it anymore. Yeah. But when I did have it, I'm like, man, I kind of actually...
Yeah, no, you did.
I had room.
Yeah,
to
no,
do
like
stuff.
you did good. Like it was. Yeah, I mean, I was kind of like, you know, I knew where I wanted to shoot it. I knew what I wanted it to look like. It was just, you know.
You literally wrote that for me. That's why it was fun.
And it was like I didn't write it. You know, I wrote it for somebody else, and I just happened to get him there, and it was like, because of that, and because of him not really wanting, like it didn't seem like he really wanted to do it. And
see, I was in on it, and like there was times that we were shooting,
and I couldn't get like
too drunk.
it was like impossible for me to get the shots that I wanted just because I hadn't really thought about like the structure of the car and frame with the camera.
Well, that's one thing we all.
Yeah, it's like you just learn from that, but it's just overall it's a situation that was like.
So what did we learn from that? Well, Andrew.
Yeah, we don't cast random people for our roles.
Andrew can be cast.
Yeah.
But it's going to take him a while before he learns stuff. Or if he does stuff, just give him the content. It doesn't have to... This is the best thing you can do. Give me the context of what they're saying, and give me a generalization. Don't make me do the lines completely.
Yeah.
Let me kind of go. Because if you notice...
I think the problem with that was like... I don't mind if you don't do
they
exactly
were big
lines.
dialogues.
Yeah, but it's like if he... And that's something I've gotten better at.
Just
too,
give me
like,
a general gist
exactly.
of what I'm supposed to say, and I'll do it.
And I mean, that's something I've improved at, but I mean, a lot of that too was like, if you're not doing the exact lines, that's okay, but it's like then the other person kind of
I'm telling you, I'll never learn the lines.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
I'll read it 1,000 times, but it won't, even on my own
Yeah,
stuff.
but then the other person kind of needs to like, do their lines completely so that, you kind of, yes-anding off of them and doing like what is generally the line will work, but the problem was with what's his face? What was your friend's name? He didn't know the lines, and so
he knew them, but that he knew some of the lines, but then he started improvising other stuff. And
exactly. It's like
then he started bringing up other things,
and he was just kind of making things up.
Whole storyline was convoluted because of him.
Yeah,
and it was supposed to be a minute and a half, like short film.
And so, like, if you have somebody like that where they're not going like. Because even if you improvise within the confines of the story that's been set up, whatever, it's fine. But it's excuse me. But it's like, what was doing was he was just kind of creating this whole new narrative from like what you had started.
Yeah.
And what
I was trying to create a character.
Yeah, and what he was doing was just kind of like not dedicating himself to this. And
that's why I started drinking the thing a little bit, because I want, like, even though it was a little bit of a process thing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because if you start to get the feeling and then you start to remember the feelings and you kind of get it like going, and it's like putting lube on a machine to get it going.
Yeah. So
it's like it helped me a little bit. So like that's why, and then even the little bit of makeup and everything kind of fell into place. Because I like once I do that, and then that's what I was trying to get towards is when I don't traditionally do my voice, because I didn't really do my voice in that one. It was deeper.
Yeah, I don't remember what you did with that.
It was like around here a little bit. So it was sort of my voice, but not really. Because my voice, it can be deep like that, but it's also mid-range. But like, the reason why I want to do the one with the cult, is because I can completely transform. Like physically.
Yeah, do Kermit.
Hey, hey guys, how you guys doing? What's the name of the podcast?
Do Donald Trump.
Fuck no. That's the one fuck you'll keep in.
Oh yeah, I will keep that one in. That'll be funny.
That's the teaser clip.
Yeah, the frog in the throat thing is like the funniest one where you're like,
I don't. Okay, the only reason I do that is Tom Cruise does he does his Donald Duck and he's like achoo, and then I think it's Seth MacFarlane does something similar. Yeah, I know I say that weird.
I wasn't gonna say anything.
It's irking you.
See you. No,
I fight it.
No, I just think it's funny now. It's just like a weird quirk. It's like a personality thing.
My sister does it all the time.
Oh really?
No, like me, my brother, and my sister do it. My dad doesn't do it at all. But like because we hung out so much, like I pick up on a lot of the stuff she says. So Simpsons
similar
is similar.
Yeah, similar.
And it's
yeah, you
hard.
just like change the vowel. It's fine though.
It's hard sometimes because like Ashley, she'll kill me. She's like no,
no.
But like, oh my god, I think I could do something very interesting with this and make me look like Ralph Fiennes in the Greek one.
Oh yeah.
Make me look like that.
Wait, is that his name? No, it's Ralph.
Ralph Fiennes.
Yeah, Ralph Fiennes. I was like, who's Ralph Fiennes? Yeah. No,
I'm always stuck on that one.
Yeah,
it's like Cillian Murphy. Like
yeah.
Cillian. Is it
sure
Fiennes or Phineas?
I think it's Fine. Yeah, it's Fiennes.
I think it's
Ralph
Fiennes. I was.
It also might be Ralph Fiennes. No, it's Ralph Fiennes.
Fiennes.
I think it's Fiennes.
Phineas.
We need to go see that. I really want to see that.
Oh my god! You sent me. Okay.
It looks so good. Look, I was sending you bangers on Instagram. You kept sending me things that made me depressed.
Stop! I sent you that trailer.
No, you didn't.
Okay. Every damn time. No, I didn't send you that one. But I saw it before you sent it to me.
I sent it to you.
That one because it's the Odyssey.
Yeah, I know.
And
but that's like the right way to do the Odyssey is not to do the whole story, just to like do a bit of it.
Like it looks,
especially with Ralph Fiennes, like that was the best cast.
He's in 28 Years Later too.
Oh, is he really?
Yes.
That's oh yeah, that's right. You just said that.
He's bald.
But yeah, Ralph. Yeah, like when he, like his Voldemort, he has a head on the back of his head.
Oh god.
No, Ralph Fiennes was the best person they could have gotten for.
He's jacked.
Oh
Who's
yeah.
he playing?
Odysseus.
Okay.
Yeah. No, but he's the best person they could have gotten because he's classical like Shakespeare. But like. So the difference with Fiennes, it's really interesting with him. Like, I haven't seen all of his movies, but, like, just from what I've seen him, from what I've heard him talk about, he's so interesting because, like, okay, so, like, with actors...
He's
like,
so intense.
Yeah, but there's people like, you know, like McKellen and Stewart, who are, like, they're great actors, but they kind of, like, you still kind of feel like they are theatrically on
They're
screen.
bigger than life.
Yeah, like... But with Fiennes...
But they're memorable bigger than life.
Yeah.
On purpose.
But with Fiennes, I get the same feeling with Fiennes that I got when I watched Denzel in Macbeth, where it's like, you know that they are theatrically like perfect, like they can hit all the things that you need to do for a theatrical thing. And when I say theatrical, I mean like a theater, not like theatrical as in like a movie.
Yeah.
But like, they are theatrically perfect, but
Their
then at the
theater
same
presence.
time, they are also like
Cinematically.
wonderful ones. Yeah, cinematic. And that's the thing. I don't feel it as much with Stewart, at least from what I've seen with him, but I feel like with McKellen because of how much control McKellen has over his face. Like you watch him and it's like he is perfect on screen.
Oh yeah.
But
Stewart, it depends.
Yeah, his is kind of like a mix. It depends on what you give him.
Because like the most significant things he's done is literally
like Star Trek
and Professor X.
Yeah, so he just hasn't had like the kind of
and his Macbeth, which is a little bit I don't like it.
I didn't watch the movie, but I'm not a fan of like the clips that I've seen. Like I don't like that they made it like more modern.
I don't like
I don't think that's how you should do Shakespeare. Like I don't think Shakespeare deserves to be modern.
If I'm correct, didn't Mel Gibson do Macbeth?
Ooh, no, he did Hamlet.
Oh yeah.
That one was pretty good, but not because of him.
Really? Was he bad in it?
Not in my opinion. I would have to rewatch it. I watched it in 12th
My
grade.
dad said it was really fucking good. Well, bad, but...
So, I would have to rewatch it to tell you accurately because I watched it back in 12th grade, so my thoughts now would be different than they were then. Because we watched it for class. But we watched it for class. And what I didn't really like about Gibson was it kind of just felt like he was reading lines. And it felt like he wasn't, like it felt like it was kind of like when Leo did Romeo and Juliet. But like Leo did a lot better with Romeo and Juliet than I think Mel Gibson did with Hamlet.
Mel Gibson,
where it's like he knew all the lines, he knows what the lines mean, but he doesn't know how to emote them properly. And that's like a big thing with Shakespeare if you're going to put him on the screen, and that's what
here's the thing,
and that's what
his
Denzel did so
performance
well.
was still good though.
No, his performance was great.
Like his the emoticons that he that he chose.
Yeah,
they were still really good. It's just
Yeah.
I feel like it wasn't his fault. It was the director.
I don't know who even did direct.
I don't know,
Yeah,
but
it
like
wasn't like a big person.
partially what our jobs are as directors.
Ian Holm was in Mel Gibson's Hamlet.
Jesus.
He was great. I loved him.
Which one is that one?
Ian Holm. He was old Bilbo.
Oh my god!
Yeah, and like an
Yeah, I
alien.
remember him.
Yeah, he did Polonius. He was Polonius' character. He was wonderful. He's like the best.
He's in
part
a
of the
lot
movie.
of fucking things.
So there's this scene in Hamlet where
He's in Lord of War. He's the old He's the arms dealer that Nicolas Cage wants to be like.
Oh, okay.
That he beats.
Yeah.
He's in so much shit.
Yeah, he's really good. In Hamlet, though, Polonius has this speech where he does, like, it's kind of like Bilbo's speech in Fellowship of the Ring, where he just says a bunch of nonsense, because that's, like, Polonius' whole character. And so it's so funny to watch him as Polonius, knowing that he was Bilbo, because he gives this speech, and it was so weird. Like, I don't know if Peter Jackson, like, did this purposefully, because even the scene is, like, shot see, now I'm doing it. Similarly. It's, like, shot similarly to how Fellowship of the Ring was, where it was, like, Polonius would, like, crack a joke, and it was, like, a really bad joke. Like, it wasn't even that funny, but he would, like, crack a joke, and then, like, you would see the audience all laugh at what he said, and it was, like, the exact same thing as, like, Bilbo doing the whole, like, grubs, yeah, chubs, yeah, and Bigfoot or whatever he said.
Oh, all the hobbits is...
Proudfoot. Proud feet.
Oh, when he's talking about
and he's doing his
all the
birthday
hobbits
party.
in the Shire.
It's the exact...
Before he disappears.
Yeah, like if I were to show you that clip, it's like the exact same feeling. It's so funny. But anyways, he was a great Polonius. But yeah, no. So Mel Gibson, he was a fine Hamlet. Like he did really well performance wise. But the problem with Shakespeare is Shakespeare in the theater is all performance, but Shakespeare on screen is you have to do like 100% performance, 100% cinematic because it's like. In the theater, you don't have to like really control your face as much. You have to control your mouth to like make sure people can hear you and like that you're enunciating properly and everything.
It's
and you have to
how
move
it sounds.
But in the theater, like you move your body and everything, and like that's what Gibson was good at. Gibson wasn't as good at like we're gonna get in close and you're gonna do a soliloquy.
That shocks me though.
That's what Denzel Washington did perfectly, and that's why he was an
But
amazing.
if you look at every other performance that Mel Gibson's done, he's great at that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He wasn't bad at it. It was just I think that was the director. It might have been the director. The director just wasn't pulling enough out of him.
It wasn't pulling enough, or he wasn't picking up on the right takes.
At least that's how I feel from what I remember from watching Hamlet. If I watch it again, I might feel completely different.
I do remember him like he's delivering this line, and he's like he's on the ground, and like you can see the tears in his eyes, and he's like
But I'd have to watch it again. I could be completely wrong. So whoever's listening to this, don't listen to what I'm saying because I could be wrong about it.
He's special, but. Back in terms of our radio show, no, but like the call to do like a performance it's always been strong. I mean, you know all the voices I can do, you know all this crap that like I so desperately want to try it at least once and go full bore, because we've only teased little bits, and it's. Fucked with me. I can't find another word. You're gonna bleep that, but it's literally messed with me. Ha ha ha. I did that on purpose. But it's messed with me for I don't know how many years since we've been doing this, and I've always thought that I may not be the best actor in the world, but I do really want to give it a shot.
Well, and I mean, it's like people who are musicians. It's like you can be the best actor in the world for what you write. And I think that's like your strength, where it's like you're really good with what you write. Now maybe like if you were given,
or what you write,
but like maybe like let's say like you were given Hamlet or something, like you're not going to be able to play Hamlet. Like you would be able to get the emotion out, but you wouldn't be able to like do.
I couldn't do the lines.
Yeah, you
but
wouldn't be
I
able to do the
emotions.
service of the lines, and the service of the lines is like.
I would do the opposite of what Mel could do. I could do the facial stuff, but I can't.
Yeah, we'd have you like speak gibberish and then have like subtitles below it, and then we'd be like, yeah, he's speaking a language that we made up. That'd be a funny Hamlet rendition where it's like not spoken at all and it's just action.
Oh, because I could just do the gibberish.
That'd be funny.
It's all mime.
Yeah. I think someone did a mime Hamlet. Or no, there was that lady who did Hamlet all by herself. Like she did every single character in it. And it was weird.
No words, and it's literally somebody standing with cue cards going, da da, and they have like someone's reading the lines to them, but like the cue cards are there so if people can't understand, so they can read them, and it's all.
It's like that Bob Dylan music video where he's like dropping all the cue cards
and one person takes it down, and then the other person's like making the other guy's gonna
see that would
smoke.
That would
it's all part of it.
That would be funny avant-garde like. That we could do like avant-garde theater where it's like Hamlet, but it's
you light his cigarette for him and he's like
I don't know if
doing it for him, and then they start having a conversation in the middle. It's all a part of the experience.
Oh, that would be great.
And then everybody be like, what the fuck did we just watch? And then like I like for example, I'm up there doing the mime and to be or not to see something completely different, and then I like break character, and then like I'm like all right, let's go. Steal his cigarette. And then go right back into it. And then it's like intermission time. And it's the whole intermission time is literally me on stage eating my lunch.
I think you've captured the spirit of avant-garde cinema with this. This is basically what that is.
I know. I still don't know what that word means. I've heard it all my life.
Avant-garde?
Yeah.
It's French for something. I don't remember exactly what it is, but the point of avant-garde is that it's like very, like it's experimental away from like the status quo kind of thing. Mm. So like you could even consider like original Nosferatu avant-garde in a way. So
You know what I think is...
actually, here, while you go, I'm going to look up the exact definition so I can
think
tell
it's
you.
so hilarious that with the new Nosferatu coming out... Oh my god, Bill Skarsgård, from what I've heard...
Ooh, yeah.
I've heard he's terrific, and...
Well, of course he is.
The
Bill
one
Skarsgård
clip.
is wonderful.
The one clip of his voice... Oh!
Okay, here. Avant-garde is a French term that means advance guard or vanguard. It is used to describe something that is innovative, cutting edge, and ahead of its time. In the arts, it can refer to an artist, movement, or artwork that breaks with tradition and challenges the artistic
It's typically
establishment.
comedic in a lot of senses.
Yeah, but it's like avant-garde is kind of in theater. It kind of has the you know, like it does very weird things. Like that's kind of
It's
like,
the obscure.
Yeah.
It's like...
Avant-garde has taken on more of like kind of a hyperbolic definition. Of like,
Avant-garde feels like it's less of... It's more meta.
yeah, exactly.
It's meta. It's
Yeah.
not avant-garde. It's fucking...
Yeah, I mean that's basically what meta is.
it's
just
meta.
It's just, you know, a new word for avant-garde because meta is meta also means something. I think that's Greek for something, but it's like meta just means it's like outside of the normal tradition.
It's outside the normal
or
tradition.
just like outside the sphere of.
But the
eminence.
modern terminology is, what does meta mean? Picking on societal viewpoints or whatever while it's happening, like doing it in
Yeah.
front of you.
Yeah, it's kind of like being above the thing.
So pretty much like Mel Gibson comedy.
I haven't seen Mel Gibson.
Oh, come on. History of the Worlds is just straight meta. Like, everything he does is meta. Well,
mean
except
Mel
for...
Brooks?
What did I say?
You said Mel Gibson.
Oh.
I was like, I
Brooks,
didn't even know Mel Gibson
I'm
really
sorry.
even did comedy. I was like, what are you talking
Actually,
about?
hold on. Screw Mel Brooks for a minute. You son of a bitch. No, he sold the rights to History of the Worlds, and the History of the Worlds Part 2 came out on Hulu, and it was a flaming pile of dog shit.
It's
like,
okay,
it
though.
was
Blazing
terrible.
Saddles is wonderful.
Blazing, like, and all its racist.
Yeah, I would say
and
Blazing
racial.
Saddles is like Mel Brooks is something that's more meta than avant-garde.
Yeah, it's meta.
Like maybe you could, I would say maybe you could like call like Frankenstein, Young Frankenstein avant-garde, but like even that that's more meta, because the reason it's more meta is because it's like it's doing Frankenstein, but in a way that like you know you're watching Frankenstein. Like meta is kind of I think that's the best way to describe meta. Meta is like you are watching it and you're supposed to know that you're watching something. Like you're not meant to immerse yourself in it. You're meant to.
That would be avant-garde. Would be
avant-garde is like you're being immersed in something.
Megalopolis. How they had some viewings where they had the one like they had people go up to the mic and like do the question and answer sequence. Apparently.
Yeah. So
I still haven't watched that.
yeah, avant-garde is like you're being immersed, but you're not being immersed in something that's trying to be true to life. And then meta is something where it could be something true to life, but you're supposed to know that you're watching it.
Yeah, I really think Megalopolis bombed not because it was bad.
It just was too weird.
It was
just too avant-garde.
It was too complex.
I think it's the sign.
I think it was that part. The whole
Yeah.
The studios didn't want to pay for like an actor for every viewing, so they could do that.
Yeah, well, and I mean, you know, it's the sign of a good avant-garde film that it doesn't do well commercially. Because if it does well commercially, it's like, was it avant-garde or like?
That's mainstream.
Or like,
at
did
that point.
people misunderstand its avant-gardeness? And if they misunderstood the avant-gardeness, was it really avant-garde? Like, it's one of those weird things. It's like paradoxical. If an avant-garde film does well, it's like a punk band. If a punk band does well, are they really a punk band?
Usually they're misunderstood.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Nirvana is the perfect example of it. They literally have the song.
They are a punk band. Though.
Yeah, they have the song though about like people misunderstanding them and like what's that song called?
I'm so sad.
He's the one who likes all our pretty songs and he likes to shoot his guns.
Don't know what it means. Isn't it?
I think it's In Bloom.
In Bloom.
Yeah. Yeah, the one where they like dress up in like Beatles clothes.
And this is
Yeah.
Nirvana.
Nirvana. No, he says Nirvana.
This is Nirvana.
Yeah,
and they're like,
doo, doo, doo. And Dave Grohl is like doing this like.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
no,
so
but
that's a good example. But I mean, also with Nirvana, I mean, Kurt Cobain did want to be famous. Like he wanted to be famous, but he wanted to be famous doing punk.
I want to switch up the topic a little bit.
Oh, okay.
We'll get to Trash Planet later.
Yeah, we can switch up the topic.
You were talking Arctic Monkeys.
Yeah.
What exactly do you mean by it? Like?
Oh man, we might have to take a little cut. I might have to cut this part out because I have to like find the song I was listening to.
Because I know a lot of Arctic Monkeys. What song is it?
I will have to find it. I can't remember.
Because here's the funny part.
It wasn't like... It was on that Popular album, but it wasn't like...
Popular.
Yeah, it wasn't like the main one.
The funny part is the more... I've been listening to Marilyn Manson, and I really do think Ashley goes...
Oh, here it is.
I really think she got that for Christmas. she got me a vinyl. I'm like, it's the only one I talk about getting. What you want to know? Do you want to know?
No, this is... You only call me when you're high. You only call me when you're high.
Oh, that was a good one. You know what they remind me of? You're gonna be like, that's such an interesting thing.
Here, wait, let me pause it so then you can say it, because I'm gonna have to cut that out.
So, what you want to do when I'm high? Like, that's a great song, but like, Arctic Monkeys reminds me of, with the way he sings. Mm-hmm. Drum roll, please. Country.
Oh, okay.
So, with the free flow aspect of like the vocals in country, that's what it reminds me of when you do a lot of pop like that.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but it does. Like if you listen to the inflections and the uptones, the downtones, the vibratos and all that stuff, making my sound.
Yeah, I mean at that point it's kind of like, country, because when you think of country, it means like American country, but it's like at that point it's kind of like he's doing something that is like very British.
Yeah.
So it's like he's being it's
he's
kind of
being
like
British.
Yeah, it's like watching Monty Python. Like you can't watch Monty Python and not be like, oh my God, this is British. Like, so he's just perfectly encapsulating his country.
But like it reminds me.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean though.
Like, because I was saying, the more I listen to it, the more I think about it. Like, it makes me think of that. So the nationalism of it, it's the free flow, and the fact that I know you want to do that. I'm getting to another point, but I can do that. I can do.
Well, that's what I meant whenever I said like this is. I don't mean like I want to try to imitate the Arctic Monkeys. I just mean like the Arctic Monkeys is actually just what we've been trying to do.
Free flow kind of.
Yeah,
chillax.
and so what I meant was like this is kind of like the ultimate like this is what.
And you're gonna hate me to the next part.
Oh jeez. But I just mean like with Arctic Monkeys, it's like whenever I imagine how our songs would sound if we actually like recorded them, mixed them, cleaned them up, all this stuff, it would be kind of like American Arctic Monkeys. Yeah. The American Monkeys.
I'd have to.
But not the actual. Well, no, the Monkeys were British, but. So.
I'd have to slim up a little bit, shave the beard, get a wig, so I have long hair.
No, I think it'd be funny. Like, just get like I think if you got like a pure white suit.
Just a pure. I'd wear this.
Yeah, no, like keep your hair the exact same way, but like get a white suit and then like when you sing, you just kind of like sway back and forth.
God. Slowly unbutton.
Oh God, no, not
actually
that.
Would kill me.
No, yeah, but that's how I could imagine us. Like if we actually wanted to like professionalize our thing, would be like we could be me and whoever else we get would be in like black suits, and then you would be in a pure white suit.
I would do everything but the jacket. I would roll the sleeves and I would do black bracelets.
No, you'd have to do it. You'd have to do a jacket.
I ain't wearing a jacket.
Why?
Oh, I gotta be my own person.
Oh, okay.
You guys can wear the jackets and the glasses.
Wear a top hat and a monocle.
And then I'll look like punk as hell.
Yeah.
Alright!
Get like
I thought he was American.
Get the Andy Warhol hair going with like the crazy in all directions.
Oh my God.
But,
it's all black.
Yeah, so no, that's what I was thinking with Arctic Monkeys. I
found something completely weird and crazy and stupid, and I think it's awesome. So what I've learned is a lot of my vocal patterns, I've told you this, sounds a lot like Trent Reznor, Bush, there's a couple songs, like Glycerine, like I can match those things. Marilyn Manson, it's very strange, it's very weird, but a lot of like my vocal like choices and the way I sing certain things, I know I listened to him, but I never listened to him a lot. Mm-hmm. I mean, I got obsessed for a period, but I didn't realize how much my voice was built on him and all those other people. Like him especially. Mm-hmm. Like, you'll be singing on the way home. I'll have stuff playing like in the car, and it's just like it's very strange, and it's a lot of like when I try and do like the metal or like the darker stuff, and it, like ironically, it sounds like Manson. It sounds like a cleaner cut Manson.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of where I see the Arctic Monkeys fitting in as like a good like kind of roadmap there, because it's like, you know, their instrumentation is very sparse. I mean, like they don't do very much there, so it's like, but the instrumentation is also clean and poppy enough that it's like it could be a nice underbelly for what you're doing on top of it.
Yeah,
I mean, because like I feel like even more than Manson, I see because okay, so I see the Manson in your voice whenever it's like an uncleaned up song, but whenever I do clean up our song, or not whenever we clean up our songs, I see it more as like kind of like a mix of Arctic Monkeys, Doors, kind of, you know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll take that as a
And
compliment.
I mean, not the Doors in the instrumentation, because obviously...
You know I'm a Doors fan.
Yeah, and I mean, I am too. But I mean, like, the instruments of the Doors are, like, you know, wonderful. Like, you know, they're all amazing at their thing. They are in Arctic Monkeys, too, but the point of Arctic Monkeys wasn't to, like, you know, have Ginger Baker on the drums. Or, no, wait, Ginger Baker was Cream. Have, whatever the guy from... the Doors was, where it's like, you know, they're doing more like kind of like jazzy type stuff. Like, that's not really what we're going for with it. We're going for instruments that support the voice.
Yeah.
I mean, because if you're thinking of the song like, or the
Because
band
I
like a
sound like
pyramid,
Jim Morrison. As I call him Jimmy Morrison, I sound like him.
I don't think you sound like him, but you sing similarly to him.
It's the broken.
Yeah, it's
dialect.
just kind of like where his things aren't very melodic.
But they're it's sometimes it sounds spoken, sometimes it sounds like it's sung.
It's like he can speak in a melodic way without it being like a melody that you would really hum. I mean, Riders on the Storm.
Johnny Cash.
Yeah, like Riders on the Storm, you go like.
Riders on the Storm.
And like that's one of his only things where I would really be like, I mean, and then there's like L.A. Woman, but a lot of his is like he's just kind of speaking, even whenever he's singing.
Yeah.
And that's what makes Jim Morrison powerful.
Well, I sort of do that, but I also don't.
Yeah.
It's weird.
But that's what I mean, where it's like I think the times you don't do it is whenever we haven't like actually ironed out a song as much as it can be ironed. Because I think whenever we do iron out a song, like,
but sometimes I have it.
Yeah.
In the bag.
Whenever I have that like chord progression going, and it's like we're just singing along, like you're singing along to it. Then it's like, okay, I can see like the Arctic Monkeys Doors type thing.
You can see that I'm thinking.
Yeah.
When I do that.
And that's what I'm trying to do.
Because
and that's what I try to do in those situations, is I'm trying to force you to do something that's a bit more uncomfortable than what you would naturally do.
Well,
because the thing that is more uncomfortable to do is the thing that is actually generally more interesting. Like, I think the things that you, Ashley, and I did together, where it was like...
That was probably the most uncomfortable I've been.
Exactly.
Not as a person, but like...
No,
as like
I know
vocally.
what you mean. Like, vocally, you were the most uncomfortable, but listening back to it, that's the best stuff we've done.
Yeah, in a long time.
I mean, because, like, the stuff we did with Brett was great, but it was, like...
That was a lot of... I'm trying...
Yeah, even that was, like, your era of, like, coming into your voice.
I was trying everything.
Yeah. Now that you've kind of figured out, okay, this is what I can do, it's like, okay, that's now what I'm trying to do is, like, being the instrumental guy is, like, I'm trying to be like, okay, I'm going to, like, try to... That's kind of my directing, like, here, is, like... I'm not even telling you what I want you to do. I'm just doing the music differently.
You're influencing.
Yeah, it's like, if I do the
You're
music...
a silent influence.
Exactly, and that's what I've tried to do here. It's
Just
like, if I make the music different, then you're going to have to sing different. So if I
notice that.
So if I know that I want you to sing a certain way, I'll play it how I want it to sound underneath what
And
you're singing.
sometimes it comes... Well, most of the time it comes up that way. But there's very few times where we're stuck. Mm-hmm. And we also have to do one thing. The hell's the band name? As of right now, it's...
That's not important,
The outfit. Asterisks.
It's not important until we figure out some songs. Like, once we have, like, an album of clean, like, good written songs.
I don't know if Ashley's gonna be completely on board.
No, I kind of felt that way, too.
She's like...
It's okay, though. She doesn't need to be.
Well, it's more like she'd come in and do, like, a song or two or something.
And I mean, that's fine.
She wants to hang out.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, if she just wants to be like the person who like we're in a studio and she's just hanging out, like she doesn't have to be like Yoko Ono or anything.
Oh yeah. Well, she's more talented than Yoko Ono. You don't have to cut her mic.
See, there we go. Yoko Ono, she was avant-garde.
That was no.
No. It was avant-garde.
I'm not giving it. No, I can't give her credit. You can't give her credit.
Just being
that.
biased, man.
She's the reason why John Lennon's dead.
Well, no, it's actually Henry David Chapman or whatever his name was.
He probably got pissed because he's like, I wanted to marry John Lennon.
No, he got mad because he read Catcher in the Rye and wanted to kill John Lennon. I don't know how. I mean, maybe it's because he hated the book so much. I read that and I just did not like it. Maybe I need to read it again. I don't know.
Kill John Lennon.
I mean, now that John Lennon already got assassinated, I feel like I'm allowed to read this now.
I think from what we've started, it's very. I will say, like, for anybody who is starting like a band or writing, it's very disheartening with the whole process.
Yeah.
And evolution, is because when you're doing it by yourself, and you're trying to learn things by yourself, you don't really see the change. You don't really see the evolution. The only time, like, because if you focus on it 100% all the damn time, you're not going to find it. But if you take a break, it is necessary sometimes because, like, I swear. But if you have people around you and you have good enough people around you, you'll start to notice the small things that are your upscale good changes and your downscale bad changes. But if you're with the right group of people, you'll be able to do more upscale stuff. But if you're just by yourself, sometimes you're talented enough, sometimes you're not. But sometimes you need a group of people to see, because, like, I know you and me as writers, we started at such a weird plot.
Yeah, that was
weird. But the thing that made us
it's like
decent was the fact that our ideas.
Here, I'm going to bring a little bit of physics into this example. It's
Physics?
Like, it's like the idea of like kinetic energy and potential energy.
Yeah.
It's like we had all that potential energy that was there whenever we first started, and so now it's just been building up that like building up that kinetic energy to build up to our ultimate.
We were navigating our space bridges.
Exactly.
But
because like when we first started, I mean, like we didn't know how to collaborate. Like it would be like you would send me like a draft, and I would like completely rewrite it as if I had written it.
I got so bad.
I know, and like looking back on it, like I don't like that I did that, because back then my idea of collaboration was like, okay, if two people are writing something, it's like, all right, the one person writes it and then they send it to the next person, and that person just does it again in their voice. And it's like that's not what you try. That's not what you're trying to do in collaboration. What you're trying to do in collaboration is be like
trying to stick to a singular, a joint.
Exactly,
voice.
and it's like if you're doing it in the type of way where it's like one person writes it and then the other person is just helping revise it. It's like when you revise it, you are supposed to know this person who you're collaborating with, and then you can kind of pull out the good things that you know about them.
So you're saying time is a good thing?
Time is a good thing.
But it sucks because...
Yeah, you have to wait.
Especially whoever is listening, and if you are a younger person trying to do writing and stuff like that, like I said, it is disheartening, but you have to be patient.
Yeah.
Because if you're not patient enough, you're going to get very pissed off with anything you do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, there's been times, I mean, if we're talking to the audience now, there's been times where, like, we haven't talked for,
I've been talking to the audience for a while now.
Yeah, no, I know. Now I am, too. But, like, you know, there's times where, like, you know, you and I haven't talked for, like, maybe, like, 6 months, and it's not because we're, like, any sort of, like, disagreement. We're just busy. But then it's interesting because then it's, like, once one of us, like, is like, hey, you know, what's up? And then we start working. Then it's, like, everything is a lot better than it was before, because we have both been working on our creative selves since then.
Oh yeah.
And we've also like had time to like be like, okay, I've now put this person into like the right part of my mind where I know how to work together.
That's another thing as well. Just because you have a group of people around you doesn't mean you have to always be with that group.
No, you shouldn't.
Because
I think it's dangerous.
Our best work comes from us doing our own thing, coming back, talking about it, going to our
and then
thing.
Going and doing it by ourselves.
And finally, when we get to a point and we accumulate all these ideas and all these perspectives and really, you know, very smart stuff, because we're smart people.
Oh yeah, we're highly intelligent.
We're prestigious.
Yeah,
but
we sit here and sip our tea and
smoke cigarettes.
No, we smoke cigars. The whole room just has like a cloud of smoke at the top.
When you come back and you have those ideas, because it's an amazing thing to have someone help you, but you got to realize, is this person the right person? Is this person helping me? Is this person hurting me? And then you also got to remember that if you want to do what you're doing, like if it's writing, if it's singing, if it's acting, you have to go for it. You can't just sit back. You can't. Like, even, I know I've been busy recently. I was telling Caleb before we started doing this, that, oh my God, it's been so busy, you know.
Yeah.
When we're recording this is like, we're on Christmas and the holidays, and this is the beginning of all this stuff, and like, there's job changes, and I got, you know, life gets in the way. It does.
Yeah.
If you can start before... If you can start before you graduate and you have a good trajectory, you're going to be better off. But don't expect. That's the biggest thing about the younger generation, our generation, is that we expect success.
Yeah.
Like, that's something I noticed is we expect instant gratification. But if you expect that, you're going to fail. What you should expect is small evolutions. Give yourself small achievements. If you give yourself small goals, you're going to succeed. If you don't, I'm not saying you're not going to succeed, but the chances are significantly lower, because if you're going to expect the first thing that you write is going to be amazing,
Yeah.
you're wrong.
Yeah.
I wrote an entire book. That was the first thing. That was the first thing I ever did. Was I wrote an entire book when I was 14. And Caleb knows this, and he's read part of it. It's convoluted. The problem is it had great ideas. I didn't exactly know how to execute it. It was a weird point in my life, so it kind of has an emotional value into it. But you got to understand who you are as a writer, and I wouldn't say jump into doing a book or into just making songs. I would say start with your lyrics. Start with learning. If you're a singer, start learning other songs and learning how to pertain lyrics from other people, how to control your voice, how to, like, anything. I mean, hell, go do school choir, do church choir, do something. Learn from it in different environments, because a lot of my faults have been I refuse to do certain things.
Yeah.
I hate reading. I really do. And I'm a writer. I hate it so much.
Yeah.
I'm dyslexic. I hate it. But one of the best reads I've ever had was Dracula. Bram Stoker's
Yeah,
Dracula.
Dracula's a good one.
And it does seem weird when you first read it, but, like, it's great. But, like, the point being is I put so much effort into creating a book. Like, when I was 14, I had 3 to 4 different ideas. And when I finally did it, I was so happy with myself. Because it's a great achievement. But once you realize that, that's a small achievement.
Yeah.
Even at the time, it's one of the biggest achievements that you can do. But in your actual portfolio, your career, it's a small achievement, because you haven't found your complete voice yet. And if you are still attached to that, like, to that said story, and it's as convoluted as mine, it's going to haunt your dreams.
Which is funny because the story is about that.
There's sort of dreams.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the creative life really is.
It's difficult.
Yeah, and it's like, I think people have this incorrect. I mean, there's the instant gratification notion, but then there even is, like, the notion that I think a lot of people who deny instant gratification believe, which is that it's the Sisyphus thing, where it's like, as long as I keep pushing this rock up this mountain, eventually I'll get to the top. I don't remember who I heard say this, but that's a terrible way actually to think about your creative life, because the way you should think about it, if you want to think about it as a mountain, is that there is a top to this mountain, but you're never going to reach that, and nobody ever has reached their
I'm gonna
top.
spin that on your head. Don't think about it as a mountain. Think about it as, like, gardening.
I was actually going to use the garden after I used the mountain, because
Think about a garden.
exactly, because
You're taming it.
yeah, and
You're
I mean,
tending.
a garden. That's actually funny that you said that, because I was going to
You
say
have
the
dry
exact
spouts.
same thing.
You have good years, bad years. It's perfect, because there's times that you're gonna have writer's block, which, God damn it, I'm stuck on that. There's times that you're gonna put too much on your plate. You know, if you harvest too much carrots,
then
it's
the ground
just gonna
is,
kill you.
Yeah, and the ground is depleted, and then you have to let it recharge. Yeah, no, gardening's a
You
great.
have to rotate. You know.
Gardening's a great metaphor for it. And I was gonna say it's like, you know, the way that I've kind of found it more recently, because I hate thinking about life like it's pushing a rock up a hill, because it's like life is so much better than that, and it's like
Life isn't as bad as everybody puts
no,
it,
it's
though.
so much better than life.
It's only as good as you think about it and
Yeah.
as you make it.
And it's difficult. Gardening's difficult, but it's also beautiful. Pushing a rock up a mountain isn't beautiful. Gardening is beautiful, but it's also difficult. And it's like
the only reason you should push a rock up a mountain is the idea of an achievement like that. So, like, that's like doing a book.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say about the mountain thing.
But that should be later.
yeah, if you want to think about life like a mountain,
Start your garden, then climb your mountain.
and if you want to think about it that way, think about it like it's
It's like The Hobbit.
yeah, like it's a tiered mountain. Don't think about it like it's one long push. Think about it like, you have to climb 500 feet with your little rock.
Go
And
500 feet, then you go 1,000
yeah,
feet.
and then you're like, okay, I did 500 feet. That must mean I can do 600 feet. And then you do 600 feet, and then you're like, okay, I don't want to do 700 next. How about I do 1,000 next? And
do 1,000, and then you only do 100.
Yeah, and the beautiful thing about that is, if you do 1,000 feet, but you can't do it yet, then the rock only falls down to the bottom of that 1,000 feet. It doesn't fall back down to the bottom of the mountain. There's never a point in life, even if you're at your lowest point, where you have to like completely restart. I mean, you have your achievements.
It can happen.
It can happen.
It's not.
But it's a lot harder to do it like that way. But yeah, no, creativity is a garden. You gotta, and I mean,
Tended.
yeah, and plant things when you're young, so that whenever you're 25, 35, 45, the things are sprouting, and you can draw the fruit from it.
One of the bigger things I would say, this is probably what I'm gonna end on, because I
gotta run.
Yeah, I do.
I gotta run too. It's okay.
When you have, I know, as a creative, you're gonna have so many ideas.
Mm-hmm.
One of my big problems is focusing. One of Caleb's big problem is focusing.
Yeah.
You gotta learn how to manage between those, because right now I told him that, well, we're both working on kids shows, okay, and we mentioned 2 films that I want to do. That's the problem. There's 3 projects. I need to be working on 1, maybe 2.
Yeah.
2, okay. I wouldn't suggest doing 2, but if you're doing if you write any way that I write, and you write more of the darker side, having something like a kid show to work on that's almost like Looney Tunes, it's like a 5-minute, 10-page, something that you can do. It's also very good if you want to work on comedy, because you get your skit show type of format going, and then you can work on the horror, the drama, excuse me, whatever takes so much more out of you. And it's a good balance. Now, the only problem with that is when you have writer's block on both.
Yeah, because then the solution that I come up with and that you come up with is
Let's do
a third project.
Do a third project, or you
and then the first 2 projects, and then the first 2 projects die, and then it's like
they're not gonna die. I don't want them.
No, I mean mine won't die. I mean I've been like
mine always.
I don't even want to say the name of mine because it's like so sacred, but it's like it's sacred to me. It's not sacred in some sort of universal way, but it's like my thing has been like I've fully kind of like committed to this thing, and that's why I haven't been writing scripts at all, because it's like I just need to get this done. Like this is gonna be like my
the IHOP.
Yeah, the IHOP. International House of Pancakes. Yeah, my my IHOP project is like that's like my creative baby. Like my children's book was my first creative baby. This is my second creative baby.
See, that's why I keep trying to do the one horror character, because that's my creative child. It's just because of the book, I want to bring it to life.
Yeah.
I wanna fix it. I wanna make it more concrete and less convoluted. But I see so much potential in it.
Yeah.
That I want to pick and grab.
And to that point, I mean, this character has been something that in many different respects has been in a lot of your different drafts that you've dropped throughout the years. But that means that whenever it finally is, the draft becomes the completed project, then it's going to be that's who that character was meant to be this whole time, and you've just had to work through all those different drafts.
And then it's going to be, well, I found a new villain.
Yeah,
I do have a new one.
Then you have to create a new one, yeah.
That's the big thing. My biggest thing is, this will actually be the last thing. My biggest thing is, learn how to write your protagonist and your antagonist, but don't be afraid to utilize side characters. My biggest problem is I prioritize on the villains. And sometimes I do have decent protagonists. Sometimes I don't. You have to learn how to balance between them, because I know it's more interesting to write the antagonists. So much more fun. Even whatever you're writing is so messed up. But you got to remember the protagonist is what the audience is viewing.
Yeah.
And those side characters are also helping that protagonist. So don't be afraid to utilize them to bring interest, to bring ideas, to help elevate the story. That's something I've learned. And I've been thinking about a lot recently, since I haven't been really doing anything. But I've been sitting back and I've been realizing stuff and I've been thinking about what I can do. So remember, characters and stuff like that, they're very important. Like your plot, it's the least important thing, in my opinion. Other people will say plot and character are equal. I disagree. Plot can always change, and plot can only be elevated with character.
Exactly. So if you have a strong character base, plot comes from that. If you have a strong plot, character.
Even if the plot is terrible, like super bad.
Yeah.
Like even if the character if the character's story is that good, if the actor's performance is that good, you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
That's one thing they don't teach you if you look on YouTube, if you take classes, like they don't talk about like the meaning of character.
Exactly.
And if you get attached, you can't help but write a good story.
Yeah.
Thank you, Quentin Tarantino.
I was gonna say Quentin Tarantino was the example I was gonna use. I mean, because like his stories now are amazing. Like Inglourious Bastards is wonderful.
But
Django
if
is
you really
wonderful.
think about the plot,
It's very basic.
it's basic.
But if you look at like I was gonna use the oldest one. If you use Reservoir Dogs as an example, that is the most basic plot that he could have possibly written for his style. But
it's the characters.
the movie's wonderful. It's the characters. It's how
That's
the
my
plot
favorite
is.
Tarantino movie.
Yeah.
It still is.
It's that's great.
Alrighty,
Andrew. Well, thank you for being my last podcast of 2024, and we'll have to get you on again.
Well, I'll be back.
Yeah, you live like 5 minutes away from me, so I can just call you and be like, "Hey, it's time to do a podcast."
We can do weekly lessons for what?
Yeah, sign up for my Patreon. It's $200 a month, and we'll teach you how to be like us.
Unproductive.
Yeah, I'm so productive. All right, signing off.